power users that are using it to a professional degree feel like they're behind, especially when you're taking care of the operations and growing a business and doing the day-to-days. Trying to keep up is challenging. I'm particularly excited for a number of reasons, and I have to tell you a story. And before I jump into that story, I do want to mention to everyone, I am deeply appreciative of everybody's time. I know it took a lot of time and effort for people that traveled all the way to Saskatoon, and for the people dialing in online, I really appreciate you taking a couple hours out of your very busy day to listen to us today, and we won't disappoint. So going back about until 2011, 2012, we were just getting going. Smaller operation at the time, but that's really when we got going into the space here. We had a small handful of customers at the time. We had Excite, Social Ordeals, Summit, companies like Zip Local, Hearst, Metroland Media out of Ontario. And it was an exciting time for us. We had a small customer base, we had a growing product, and it was the right place at the right time. And I remember having a particular conversation with one customer at Metroland. I think his name was Greg Turkstra. And on the phone, he was telling me how well received that reputation management was amongst their advertising base. He was also sharing with me some things that he wanted to see incorporated into the product. Well, after I got off the phone with him, I leaned over to our development team because we were all in the same room. And I told him Greg's feedback, and I think that he wanted something like a sort function on the review feed. And they implemented it, and it took them about 15 minutes. And about a half hour after I hung up with Greg, I jumped on the phone with him, and I asked him to refresh his tab, and he was blown away. Couldn't believe it. He was so happy, and it made me feel great that we were able to implement something that fast. And we did that with a lot of partners at the time. Not Amy. Amy had a longer list, so very long list. But back, when you're smaller and you've got one product, over time, that thing grows, and the product grows in complexity. You add other products. Those products grow in complexity. You add other customers, they add other customers, and so the use cases explode. And over time, you can't be as responsive as you were in the early days. I long for those early days sometimes. But I'm particularly excited today because it feels like we can step back into that era of responsiveness. And what is possible today is blowing me away, and I think it's going to blow all of you away as well. Right now, consider three people. First off, consider an agency owner that has a conversation with a client who says, I'll pay whatever, now ... referring to an application that didn't exist 10 minutes before. Consider a marketing leader that replaces a reporting dashboard that costs $20,000, and he does it in an afternoon. Consider an operator who's sick and tired of paying $15,000 to Monday.com, and he replaces it building his own thing and does it in a ridiculously small amount of time. These aren't hypothetical situations. These are real people, real situations. You're going to hear them today, live on stage. They're with us, and you're going to hear what they built, why they built, and the impact that it had on their business. So I'm really excited about that. Over the last 30 years, we've all played the same game. We purchased software to make our businesses more efficient. When we purchase those solutions, inevitably, they don't match exactly what we need. So we mold our businesses around those solutions. We wait for updates to functionality that we're waiting for. When it doesn't operate the way that we want it to, we submit tickets. Sometimes we hire our own developers. Sometimes we get custom development done, which is incredibly expensive, takes a long time, and by the time it gets delivered, the use case has already changed. Well, that model is changing this year, and the people that get it and the people that embrace it are going to run laps around the people that don't. And again, you're going to hear from three of the people that really get it here today on stage. I'm going to fast forward to our lineup. Today, you're going to hear from Brendan King, our co-founder and CEO. Brendan's going to talk to you about what we're building, why we're building it, and why now. So I'm excited to have Brendan tell you this story. We're going to have Rylan Morris, who's our VP of Product Marketing, up here, and he's going to do a live demo. And hopefully the gods are nice to him and the network holds up. Rylan, you got this. We're going to hear from our panel of our 3 experts, and I'm pumped to hear their stories. And then we're going to hear, we're going to have a Q&A session, and we're also going to have a live workshop. And so without any further ado, I'm going to just run through a little bit of housekeeping. We are recording this session, so if anyone has any questions, yes, you'll be able to go back. You'll be able to listen to the recording. Everyone's going to receive the link. For the people that are online, I want you to engage in the chat. Our team is standing by. They're there to ask or answer your questions, and we'll be addressing some of the questions that you post in there a little bit later on in the program. And then lastly, I want everyone to engage. I want you to close your other tabs and listen. We're going to make this worth your time. And we'll follow up with any of the questions that we don't get to. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I'd like to bring up to the stage here Brendan King.
Wow, great. Love having you all here. It's my honor and pleasure to be able to introduce this Vendasta version of Connect, which I think Jeff described as something as a change in the world, and it really is. What I'd like you to take away from this is that we're on the precipice of a change in the world, and I think you all know it, with AI that's bigger than many things that have happened before. And I'm sure that in a couple years we won't talk about AI. We'll just talk about the things that businesses need done and the things that you can do. But there has been a huge change. To start with, I was thinking about this change, and I said, we have this video that actually sort of encapsulates that change. So I just want to play you a short video. Some of you may have seen it, some may have not. Let's just go through this. Whoops. I guess I got to go back before. Play the video, folks.
Hey, there he is. Get in here, my man.
What are you doing here?
You need to eat.
You have 47 customer inquiries to respond to. We're talking DMs, emails, SMS, Instagram, voicemails.
Buddy, they're everywhere.
How did you get into my house?
I let myself in.
Oh, you just got another review. 2 stars. That's not good. Is that my robe? By the way, you need more qualified leads.
How are you going to get all of this done?
This ends tomorrow.
Whoa, what is that? AI employees? Hold on a sec. So, what do you guys do?
I'm having 8 conversations with customers as we speak, 2 in Spanish and 1 in French. I just improved your Google review rating from 2.1 to 4.8.
I've automated your entire cold outreach and booked 3 new consultations. I just identified 15 low-hanging fruit keywords where you can hit page 1 by Monday.
All right, pal, time to go.
Vendasta. Put AI to work.
Whoa! Whoa!
Is he still there?
Yeah, just ignore him.
Okay, so that sort of typifies the change in what's happening. I'm going to go through this, and I first wanted to start by stepping way back at 50,000 or 100,000 feet and talking about these changes. So, for me, it's been a little bit personal. So those of you who don't know, I'm a physicist and a geophysicist, and when I was in university, I was working in Fortran and COBOL and Business Basic, Turbo Pascal, and then it was really hard to make software. Like really hard. The barrier to entry was huge. So what you're looking at here is how much effort it takes to build software over time. And I was talking to Che from Kaseya about MSPs because in 1989, I started building PCs, and it turned into a couple of stores across Canada and later part of a chain. And as much as MSPs have changed, a lot of what about that, but for 10 years I did that. And then I got into software in 1999 at a company that did it in real estate. And last night, Payman from Homes.com is here. So I met Payman in, I think, 2005 in the software industry. So it's pretty small world about how things connect. And then in 2008, we started Vendasta, And I've got some customers here in Clint from Excite, and Amy from Zip Local that were early customers. I think we've got others. I shouldn't have started saying names. I'm going to forget some of the early ones, Simon and others. And it's just gotten easier and easier and easier to make software. And what I wanted to point out is that history doesn't always repeat itself, but it rhymes. This is an ad from 1951. So that's an engineer with a slide rule, and behind them is the first PC. It's a calculator, really, is all it was. And it's huge. And it says, we can replace 150 engineers with one machine. And it caused a huge kerfuffle at the time. I mean, you can imagine, right? These were their ads. One IBM machine does the work of 150 engineers. So we've been here a few times before, but I do believe that this is the biggest change that we're going to see in our lifetime, certainly in mine. Some of you are pretty young, so is this shift. And so I want to talk about this idea of liquid software, because for years, when I had my own businesses or when I was building software for others, people changed their jobs, the way they operate their business, the small business or the agency or whomever, to suit the software. And that's what Jeff was talking about. That's the change. Software will now change to suit you. And this is a massive, massive change that we're entering into. And the people in this room have such an advantage. And I like to think that we were fortunate. I always think, good luck. You make some of you luck yourself, but we've been fortunate. We got into this business in Martech Solutions back in 2008 to 2012. We built those like Jeff talked about. And we were told that the small business wouldn't do anything and our salespeople won't do anything. You have to make this thing work out of the box. So we started collecting data. And for years, we've been collecting this data. And then we built a platform that let us do things. So, we got a CRM, our booking, our scheduling, our communications, all things you can sell now. So we have this data and this tools. And when AI came along, it was the perfect opportunity for us to use those tools against the data. So that's what I want to talk about. What does it mean to make AI work for a business? Like, what does it really mean? You hear all these stories about, well, people are trying to do things with AI, but they're not succeeding or they are succeeding. And what does it really mean? So I'm thinking this is what the future of work looks like from our perspective. So you've got productivity along the x-axis and you've got complexity of work. So in the bottom corner, we've all used a calculator before. A spell checker before. That's what a spell checker is. Human becomes more efficient. It's actually a form of AI. And then, when a couple of years back, we would go and use GTP 3.5 or something to write a blog post. So we would tell AI to help us write this thing. That's where, human feels faster. But at some point, you get to beyond the autonomy threshold. And this is where AI can do the job and people manage the AI. And that's a mind shift that's hard for people to understand. So a lot of people still aren't quite using software that way. If you think about our AI receptionist, it's booking appointments, it's answering questions, it's forwarding calls to other people, it's logging support tickets. No human is doing that. A human's just managing. It's just, you're in the outperform a median human range. So that AI can do those things, and we're going to see us advance more and more and more. Okay, so if that's what businesses are going to evolve to, what does it take to make that AI work? Now, we're all servicing small businesses. And small businesses, and for AI to work, you need these four things. You need data. And I ask you, so as I go through these, I'd like you to ask yourself, can any of your businesses do this on their own, or do they want to even if they could? No, they have to collect, maintain, keep that data up to date. They need tools. These are all the things we've built over the years. You can send an email, update a blog post, answer a phone call, make a phone call. Those are the tools. And then you need context. And that's how the business works. Because if you just had tools and data together with AI, it's like giving a child a gun. It's dangerous because it doesn't know what to do and it could do the wrong thing. Context is how do you operate? And I'm going to go through that a bit. And then you need infrastructure to keep it safe, to provide security and guardrails and be able to observe it. So firstly, data. We've been collecting and maintaining this for a long time. You all know that when you enter a business into our platform, it kicks off and gathers a tremendous amount of data. Now that data is being organized and made available to AI in a way that most small businesses couldn't do. Then we have the tools. I talked about this. We have over 500 different tools. We're adding them rapidly and constantly. So, I need to like a LinkedIn post. That's a tool. There's many kinds of tools out there, and our AI employees need those tools to be able to do things in the real world. And lastly, context. This is most important. We're starting this. This is what you're going to see happen more and more, but context is everything about the business. Who is their target market? Who's their ideal customer? How do they do refunds? What products do they sell? How do they hire people? All of that context is starting to be built. It's the brain of the business. It's what enables AI to use the data and the tools to do the right thing. Probably the most important thing. And then lastly is infrastructure. Somebody's got to take care of this. If you're looking at folks that are building things on Claude or OpenAI or Gemini, you can do a lot for a short period of time until you need to make it scale. And you have to have guardrails and observability, and then I need notifications, and then I need, payment rails, and all of those things are the base of what we're providing. So, given those things, how does AI work? How does it work for the small business? At the highest level, there's really three ways. There's a deterministic way. You guys, if you used our automations, you see this. It's like, do exactly this. These are predefined workflows. They're predictable. They're repeatable. You set it up. Somebody comes, fills out this form, put them on this campaign, do these things. I'm hiring somebody, open up my email, take all the PDFs, resumes, read them all, categorize them. Hold the mic closer. Categorize them. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you. Scared me there. Got in trouble already. Categorize those things and send them to the HR person at the end of the day in an optimized list. That's an automation. It's been around for a long time. It used to be called robotic process automation, UiPath, companies like that. It's easy now, and AI makes it better. Then the second one is agentic. So this is where it's non-deterministic. You don't know exactly what you're going to do. Remember when you had a phone tree and someone would call in and say, okay, if you want this person, do this. If you want this, do this, or press this. You wouldn't hire a person and tell them to only answer those things. These AI employees are non-deterministic. They're going to have a conversation with the customer. They're going to understand the context, and they're going to be able to do a job. They're goal-driven that really provide outcomes. And then lastly, what we're introducing today is co-creation. This is Vendasta Vibe. This is natural language progression of being able to build your own software, a dashboard, a website, an application. There's such cool things. And so we're going to talk about these three ways real quick. Automations, I've kind of already talked about them. You've seen them in our system. They're fairly easy to set up. What you're going to see now is you won't even have to set them up. You'll be able to talk in plain language about what you want to happen and just dictate that and have the automation set up and then be able to test it, observe it, make sure it's working for you. AI employees, we're rolling these out slowly as we build out our tools and our data and capabilities. So you're going to see how these AI employees can actually interact with automations. So if something happens, an AI employee can kick off something very deterministic and vice versa. So the AI employees are probably the most interesting to some of you folks. And then I want to introduce Vibe. This is what we call co-create. This is what I call that liquid software on demand. Jeff alluded to it. You can make applications specifically for just a campaign you're running for one of your customers. And you can do it in a short period of time. You can make applications, large-scale applications. You'll see that we replaced Zendesk here ourselves, and soon we'll make that available to all you folks if you want to use it or sell it. I want to talk a little bit about Vibe. So when you go into it, basically it's natural language. You just say, hey, I want to create an interactive customer activity report. And the difference between us and a Lovable or a Replit or a Bolt or a Base 44, I need to see a show of hands in the, this isn't fair to the people online, but who here is using Lovable, Base 44, Bolt, Replit, Vercel? Hands up. Okay, so half the room has used some of those things, and a lot of our more progressive partners are already trying to build applications there. But when you do, you'll find, hey, I don't have any data. Now I've got to add the data source. And then, I want to do something. Well, better connect Stripe, better connect, Twilio, better do something to get a tool, better find a way to respond to that review through an API. So there's real data There's real tools in here from all the products you have, and there's real context that we're adding now. So we know about the business, we know how to perform those actions. Context is the most important. It's what makes good AI outcomes versus bad ones. And then lastly, infrastructure to keep you safe, the security, the notifications, the guardrails, the observability. All right, I can't say this enough. The context is the advantage. It's why our automations, AI employees, and Vibe are useful on day one. We've got the data, we have the tools, and we know how they fit together. It's so important that you can actually have that work. So, but the difference of all of those products for the folks in the room is what I call distribution. So it's the ability for you to build something, whether it's an automation AI employee or an app, and distribute and sell to your customers. And we all know this, everyone in the room knows this, that most small businesses don't want to configure, build, or manage software. They're saying it's 15%. I think it's anywhere between 7 and 15. But it's not most businesses, even if they could, they don't want to. They want one of you folks to come and do this for them and just take care of that stuff. There are some owners that will, but 85% want it from a partner. So today, we're introducing the left side. It's not the one you want. It is Vendasta Vibe. It's sold by partners to SMBs. So a lot of you are already using that, selling it to the business, logging in there, building an app in our Fast Track program, and you can do that today. Soon, in early Q3, I think, at the end of Q2, we'll have Vendasta distribution. This will allow our partners to build apps and just provide those to the small businesses. So we're super close on that. So that's the advantage, though. You configure once, you set up a template across all of those things, automations, employees, CRMs. You pick a group you want, maybe it's a vertical. Could be, if you're a franchise, it could be that franchise, or it could be retail, it could be restaurants, it could be QSR, whatever it is, and you distribute to that group that configuration so it works out of the box, and then you can deploy updates and changes to that entire group across the box. So everything in our platform is distributable now. I hope we have some demos of this today. We have some partners that are using us to the max. So they'll have campaigns and automations and review sources and tools configured and pipelines from your CRM and custom fields. And you can distribute all of that. So you can set it up once and distribute it to that vertical, to that brand, to that network, to that list, which is really powerful. And that's really your unfair advantage. We have one template, configured once, deployed to thousands, and then updated to thousands as new things come out. So this gives you scale. So I'm very excited for you to see this. And lastly, I just want to talk about the system that gets better over time. You know, this is what separates a real platform from, you know, if you just build something with a prompt and an LLM and you solve this problem, what happens when the model you were using becomes deprecated and you got to go do a new model? Guess what? The prompt breaks. It doesn't work anymore. And that's happening all the time now. That's why we've chosen to be model agnostic, meaning we'll use any model. So you can switch the models, and when you do, sometimes the results aren't right and you have to tune the prompt. This is why we're capturing now the business logic. This is the job to be done. What do you have to do? I gotta book an appointment. This is the success criteria. We book 80% of conversations into an appointment. This is the outcome. The appointment's booked and we visited and generated revenue. And then you have examples. So this is good, this is bad, and then these are the corrections. So we're capturing that business logic, and then we're enabling the different prompt to iterate over the business logic in a learning loop to be able to make sure it's improved and works out of the box for you folks and gets better and better. And I'm going to play one last closing video on manual work before you get into the good demos. Whoops. Guess I got to get them to click the video.
Vendasta flipped everything upside down. Businesses don't need me anymore. That's what they told me. Can you believe that? You know what I'm going to miss most? The late nights. The endless back and forth.
I made everything slower. More people, more hours, more chaos. They couldn't scale with me.
Are you even listening to me?
I hear you, but I am an AI receptionist with guardrails that prevent me from acting as a therapist. I can help with bookings, questions, or requests. Otherwise, I'll have to let you go.
Vendasta. Put AI to work.
Great. And I think that's, I hope that give you a high level. There'll be time for questions, but I really wanted to leave you with that we want to be the right partner for you. We're working our butts off to be that, and we're going to be at the edge of technology for you. We're going to help you to get wherever you need to go.
Thank you for that context, Brendan. Mark my words, you'll hear a lot more about this concept of liquid software over the next 6 months. For now, I'm going to welcome up to the stage Rylan Morris, our VP of Product Marketing here, and he's going to introduce you to Vibe. And in front of you, he's going to build a real, working, branded, CRM-connected, hopefully, solution in front of you live. Come on up, Rylan.
You're not running out of paying clients. You're running out of time, resources, and your margins are hurting. Every new client, same setup tax, same blank page, same starting point. Nothing. What if the next website, the next dashboard, the next app already knew the business from the beginning? Introducing Vendasta Vibe, the only builder that starts knowing about the business, not a blank page. What used to take 6 weeks for a single client is now branded, connected, and live before lunch. That client that asked for a quoting tool ready before they even have a chance to look at the competitors. What about that client who needs a dashboard for their new location? Done, with their data already wired in. And your client who saw their competitor's shiny new website and wants something better. Cloned and rebranded in minutes. Plus, it's connected to Vendasta's AI workforce. Every lead gets captured, even when your client sleeps. Other AI builders start with a blank page. Vendasta Vibe is different. Every project starts with your client's business data already loaded. Their business profile, their CRM, their brand, already inside, already yours. You don't start with nothing. You start with everything. For years, software made you adapt to it. Upload your logo, enter your data, wire up your tools, learn its language. Vendasta Vibe adapts to your business, not the other way around. Build professional apps, dashboards, and websites that already know your client's business, just by describing them.
Later, folks. Yeah, welcome to the launch of Vendasta Vibe Beta. So great to see you all in the room here. Everyone online. I know there's a lot of excitement. Let's get some energy in the room here. I want to see everyone's double V's for Vendasta Vibe. Come on, guys, get them up. Throw them up. There we go. Online, you can spam some emojis in the chat or whatever. But yeah, this is a really exciting moment for Vendasta, and I couldn't be more happy to be presenting this here to you today. For those that don't know me, I'm Rylan. I work in product marketing, and yeah, before I even jump into my slides, like Jeff said, we're going to pray that the demo gods are with me today, and we're going to do a live demo, real time here. Was anyone around when Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone 4 and like FaceTime? So do I have to tell you guys to turn off your Wi-Fi or something? I don't know. We'll see how this turns out. So here I am in a live Vendasta Vibe project. It's completely empty here. Let's pretend that I have a home services client, maybe like a roofing contractor, roofing company. And they reached out to me and they asked me for an estimator tool, something to capture leads and tell customers how much it potentially costs to get my roof done. So let's go ahead and build something here. The only thing I've really set up inside of Vibe here is I've turned on a couple of different connectors. Out of the box, you'll notice that it does have the business knowledge, so it already knows everything about this business. If you guys have used AI employees with Vendasta before, you're very familiar with this already. And I've just toggled on a couple of different things. First thing you're going to see here is our forms. So it's going to actually pull in a real form from our CRM. So a lead capture form, something to get the name, address, phone number, any of the details that the business needs. We also have a new Supabase connector. For those that are familiar with Supabase or aren't familiar with Supabase, it's a bring your own database backend. You know, if you have like information about a customer's pricing details or you know, types of materials that they use to make roofs, you can load that all up into Supabase and have that connected here as part of a standard business app integration. So I've just toggled those two things on. I'm going back to my project here that's completely empty. And I have a Google Doc here with a big old prompt. And you don't actually need to use a huge prompt like this. In fact, it's probably better that you don't send in a huge prompt to Vendasta Vibe. Just start vibing, start asking questions, ask for the outcome that you want. But just for the sake of the demo here and to get a good result, you know, with one prompt, I kind of have something written out here. But all that's really in here is like, hey, I want to build a roofing estimator tool for a Summit Peak roofing. It should be able to, you know, have an estimator form in it, kind of some instructions on how it's supposed to work. And then below that, a booking form to capture the lead. So we're going to go ahead and Command A, go back to Vibe here, Command V or Control if you're on a PC. And we'll come back to this in 2 minutes. Wish me luck. Okay, here we are. Back to my presentation. You know, we ran a survey not too long ago, or my product marketing team sent this out. Big kudos to Deborah Toe, who's been running this Vibe launch. Really appreciate it, Deborah. A lot of you folks answered this survey and said that 78% of you are frustrated by proprietary tools and disconnected platforms that can't actually adapt to the way that you work. And you know, I think we've all been there before. We've been here at Vendasta with those same frustrations. I'm going to play a video for you at the end of my presentation here that goes through that as well, of how we actually replaced one of our tools using Vibe. But that is really the problem statement, the thing that we're trying to solve here with Vendasta Vibe, and that is Vendasta Vibe in a nutshell. It's the only Vibe builder that already knows your business right out of the box. You can build apps, you can build dashboards and websites for all of your clients, like I said, completely out of the box. You don't need to start from scratch. Your client's business profile is already there. Their CRM, their client data, and any of the other connections that you have inside of Vendasta Business App that you've already built out for any of your clients. It's all connected from day one. Any of the forms you have are going to send straight to the CRM. Any of your AI employees that you've built out, like your AI chat receptionist, I know a lot of you have deployed for clients. Everything talks to everything with Vendasta Vibe. And most importantly, no developers needed, right? So you just tell Vibe what you want, and it builds it for you. And we're going to make it super easy, as Brendan mentioned, for you to distribute any of the apps, websites, dashboards, anything that you build with Vibe to one, some, or all of your clients in a couple of clicks, and sell them as well. Make some money off of that too. So my team here also kind of did a couple of low fidelity videos I'm going to play for you, and I'm just going to walk you through a couple of things. We tried to keep these as like low fidelity as possible because we want to show you this is like real working software, and it's pretty remarkable. It's not just, you know, magic. So yeah, this first example here, we're going to create a promotional landing page for a wellness spa called the Glow 2 Spa. You'll see under the connectors tab here that we already have the business data like I showed you before. So that comes out of the box. We're going to switch on a form here. And it's just a very simple prompt that we have here. It's build a landing page for a promotion for my business, include the AI receptionist information in here as well. And lastly, include a lead capture form here as well. We're going to upload a couple of different images. You don't actually have to upload any images if you don't want to, but you know, it's all connected to Gemini, and we have Nano Banana running in the background, so it's going to generate some really great images out of the box. But fast forward 2.5 minutes, literally 2.5 minutes, and there you go. What do you guys think? Pretty nice landing page, hey? Just a couple of minutes. You'll notice your AI receptionist in the bottom right-hand corner. This is the one that's already been set up for this business and already has access to all the business's data. Already knows the hours of operation for the business. And, oh, thanks for zooming in, guys. Tiffany Morris, I guess my sister here, is filling out just to show you here the form that's connected to the CRM in action. So pretty awesome. And there it is. There's that form submission. So you can start capturing leads for customers right away. Pretty awesome stuff. Imagine building that in just a couple of minutes. All right. How many of you use the Vendasta Executive Report? Or have heard of the Vendasta Executive Report? Maybe you show it to show proof of performance to your customers. One thing that Vibe has access to is all of the data points inside of the Executive Report. So if you want to build something a little bit more bespoke or something more custom to show off the real performance that you're providing to your clients, you can do that with Vendasta Vibe. So let's quickly we'll go back here. I guess I have to press play on this one. 15-second video here. You'll notice that we're just going to ask Vibe here, very simple prompt to build out a dashboard, performance dashboard, includes some of this information from the executive report, and a few minutes later, you get a beautiful dashboard that you can send out to one of your clients. And this is something too that we, on our Vibe launch page, if you're joining us online and you're on the marketplace page for Vibe, we have all these examples live and ready for you to click around in and actually experience yourself. So definitely check that out. Okay, here's another great example. So imagine a client of yours comes to you with a really old, outdated website, and you don't even know how to access it. And they say they want a new website, and they saw this other website online that looks so much better, and it's beautiful. And a beautiful website that I like to think is pretty nice looking is Vendasta.com. Kudos to our design team. Imagine if you guys were just able to clone the design of Vendasta.com, right? So that's this video here. In a couple of seconds, we're just asking Vibe to build out very simple prompt here of, clone the look of Vendasta.com, and in a couple minutes you have, if you squint, it's pretty hard to tell the difference. Like, this looks like Vendasta.com, just a totally different business, and it has their solutions piped into it versus, all the AI employees that we have on our homepage. So pretty remarkable stuff. Yeah, round of applause for this. I think this is pretty awesome. This is one of the strengths, I think, with Vendasta Vibe, is being able to quickly build out a landing page, a website for your clients in no time. Okay, the time has come to go back to the roofing company. Drum roll. Come on, we'll get some drum roll going here. Let's take a look here. Boom, here it is. And just to show you guys too, here is the prompt. Here's everything that it did. I don't know if you can, so I don't know if there's timestamped here, but this is the same thing. I didn't switch to a different tab or anything that I had in the background. Let's take a look at this. So get your free roofing estimate in 30 seconds. Get your estimate. So why don't we go ahead and do this? I have a pretty small house, so we'll do a 10,000 square feet roof, sure. A little bit of a UI issue here. I guess we'll have to figure that out, but we'll do, I don't know, middle standing seam. You'll notice here that, I don't know if it's a little hard to tell, but these are all the different materials that were from the Supabase connection that knows about the business. So it's like whatever materials that the business, offers, right? And that's all connected to the pricing. So now I click calculate my estimate. Boom. Oh, you'll notice it actually flew me right to, it really wants me to fill out that form. Your estimated project cost $162,000, easy. Brendan pays me so well, so it's no problem at all. Let me enter, definitely not my phone number here. Feel free to call that. You'll get our AI voice receptionist. I'll enter my email address. You can email me if you actually want, and then definitely my address where this giant house is. Okay, submit. Great, so that was the form for the CRM. Let's see if it worked. We'll go back to the form here on the left-hand side. This is in our CRM. Got, I think it's this one here. Was this a, oh. Okay, here it is. Awesome, okay, so it actually worked. That's fantastic. I don't want to sound so surprised, but no, a live demo. Thanks, everyone, that's fantastic. It's always crunch time when it comes to releasing a new product, and this is on beta. And I was talking to our lead developer, our VP of, our chief architect, Jesse Reddle, before this, and he was pushing out a bunch of updates ahead of time, so I was kind of sweating. But yeah, great work, everyone, on this launch. Okay, I want to talk to you quickly. Oh, the TV says it's going to power off here soon. I don't know if we can fix that. Thanks, Josh. Getting started in the marketplace. So where can you find Vibe? Vibe is available today. A lot of you guys are familiar with this already. Head over to partners.vendasta.com, go to the marketplace. Under Discover Products, by default, you're going to see all the great Vendasta products here. I mean, Vibe probably a little last in the alphabet here. So towards the bottom, Vibe. You can also just search for Vibe in the marketplace. And like I said, you have a bunch of great stuff to look at our product page. We have some great examples of things that we've built with Vibe. Some of our partners have built with Vibe. Some FAQs here, some resources on pricing. So definitely check it out. The one thing I want you all to do today, if you haven't already, is to start selling Vibe. So definitely click this button. That just makes it available for you to turn it on for your accounts. It doesn't cost you anything to start selling. And it actually doesn't even cost anything to start activating it for your customers. We have I'll get into pricing in a minute here, but a couple of different editions of Vendasta Vibe Beta. The free version, definitely check it out. It's a pretty full and complete experience. So you can get in there, start building stuff for any one of your clients. And like I said, you turn it on for one of your clients. It has the data about that client already. It has the data about that account already. So you're going to be pretty surprised with what it can actually spin up by just asking it a simple question like, build me a landing page for this customer. And it knows that right out of the box. And pricing. So you're kind of getting into, you see what pricing is starting at here. Obviously this is US pricing. It might differ depending on your region and your plan with Vendasta, but roughly $20 to $50 for our standard and pro editions. I'll get into that right now, what's actually included. So like I said, free is if you just want to start exploring Vibe and playing around with it for your customers, building your first website, app, or dashboard. Really check it out. We're not going to restrict you to do that, so go ahead and do it. And you can see a lot of the features in Vibe, the core features, are available on that free plan too, so you're going to get a nice full experience. Standard lets you deploy more projects, create more published apps. We give you a lot more credits to start, creating those apps and projects. And we have a couple of restricted features there too. So you have a custom domain support. You can add any type of URL you want to a Vibe website if you want to publish it. Those analytics from the business app executive report, that comes with a standard edition, plus SSO connectors. So what that means basically is if you want to build an app that uses the login credentials from any of your users in business app, any of the users that you've set up for that account, you can set that up on the standard edition. And then we remove the Vendasta branding too on the standard edition as well. Pro is for the power users out there. It comes with that Supabase connector, allows you to do unlimited projects, publish apps, and you can also download your project as well. Yeah, and I'll mention at the bottom too, we have a couple of different add-on packs in case you need to purchase more credits to get it rolling for you. This is just for the V1 launch of Vibe. So this is if you want to resell Vibe to any one of your client accounts. We know a lot of you, like Brendan said, want to be able to distribute Vendasta apps and product, any sort of websites or dashboards that you build, and potentially make money off of those things. So that's coming later this year. Definitely be on the lookout for that, the Vendasta distribution model for Vibe. But I think this is the perfect way to get started with Vibe. So definitely check it out. Oh, here's another great way to get started with Vibe actually too. So we have a ton of great documentation available. If you want to know how I did this roofing quote estimator tool, there's actually a whole article in our documentation for that. But we have a prompt library. We have some use cases. So you can find this all in our gray label documentation on docs.businessapp.io. And you can feel free to share that with your clients too if they're interested in getting started without having to worry about breaking white label there. Okay, almost at the end here. This is for our folks online. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you found this informative, but just stick around to the very end. We have our account executive, Logan, here. He's going to take you through a very hands-on workshop. Everyone in the room here, we're going to do something a little bit different, but you'll still get a chance to have a hands-on workshop as well. And that's basically it. I just want to wrap up with saying one thing. In a few years, a lot of the software tools out there, they're going to be able to generate apps, right? The question ultimately will be, how much does your builder know about your customer? And that's the context gap that nobody is really talking about. We made a fun little video. How many of you are subscribed to our YouTube channel? Okay, everyone subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. Everyone listening online, it's great content. It's really popping off right now. We have some really amazing podcast hosts with Jeff Tomlin, or podcast guests with Jeff Tomlin. Yeah, we made a video that we'd like to debut for you right now. That's it for Vibe. Check it out. Go into the marketplace. We really think you're going to love it. So yeah, thank you, everyone.
Here's something I noticed when I spent time testing the AI vibe builders that everyone's talking about right now. Lovable, Replit, they're all impressive in different ways, but they all share one thing. When you open them up and start building, the AI has no idea who you are. It doesn't know your business, it doesn't know your customers, it doesn't know you. You start from zero every single time. And for most use cases, that's fine. But for the specific problem that most experts are trying to solve for their local business clients, building websites, apps, and dashboards that work with their actual data right now, that blank slate creates a lot of friction that nobody talks about. In this video, I want to show you exactly what that friction looks like in practice and what it looks like when it's not there. But first, let me show you the comparison. So I took the same prompt and ran it in Lovable and in Vendasta Vibe, side by side. The prompt is pretty ordinary. Create a beautiful website for my business using the business data you have access to. Add a contact us form that's connected to my CRM. I want to walk you through what each one does and specifically what each one knows or doesn't know at the moment it starts building. So let's start with Lovable. You'll notice it's already asking for context about the business. It doesn't know who I am, what my business is, what my target audience, or even things like my hours of operation. I can add rabbit grooming business in Mountain View, California to help it get started. It's also asking me to connect it to an external CRM. I'll just skip that for now. And a few minutes later, here's the Lovable output. And I want to be clear, that's a genuinely good-looking website. You could publish that today. But almost everything about it is fake because Lovable doesn't know anything about this business. It doesn't know simple things like hours of operation, services provided, location, contact information. It doesn't even know the business's name. It's working from scratch to understand everything. To get from that shell to something actually useful, you'd need to manually connect the CRM, set up API authentication, map your data fields, configure the integrations. For a non-developer, that's a multi-day project. And for a developer, it's still a meaningful lift. Now, here's the same prompt in Vendasta Vibe. Vibe already knew about this business from the start. It knows the real services offered, the fact that it sells premium grooming supplies in store, the location of the business, and even has a contact form that's connected to the CRM. And you can edit and see all of that right here under the Connectors tab. You can easily add more knowledge about the business, including anything you've already provided to your AI employees inside of Vendasta. In other words, Vendasta Vibe is the platform that already knows the business before you type your first prompt. And that difference, what the AI knows at the start, turns out to matter a lot more than which AI Vibe builder is under the hood. I ran a similar test with other Vibe platforms as well, and the pattern holds. Replit is probably the most technically powerful of the bunch. Their Agent 4 is remarkable engineering, but it also starts from zero for any standard user. The core gap is the same across all of them. You spend a lot of time teaching the AI who the business is before it can do anything useful. In Vendasta Vibe, that teaching has already happened because it's the same platform the business already runs on. I want to tell you how we actually know this works because we didn't just build Vibe for our customers. We used it on ourselves. A few months back, our Zendesk contract came up for renewal. If you don't know, Zendesk is support desk software that many software companies like Vendasta use. We'd been paying close to 6 figures a year for it. And when we sat down to look at what we were actually getting, how it lived in its own separate world from our real data about our customers, we made a call. We're going to build our own, better support system on Vendasta Vibe. And what we built reads every incoming support email, classifies it by type and priority, pulls context from the customer's account, their active products, billing status, CRM history, and drafts a response and queues it for a human to review. When something's too complex, it escalates. And that's the part Zendesk could never do. Zendesk's AI only knew what was in Zendesk. our AI knows the whole customer because that data lives in the same platform. Now, did the transition go perfectly? No. Live chat went offline. The customer portal wasn't ready. And for a few weeks, Vendasta partners felt it. We heard about it. We fixed it. And because we own this new platform and the fact that it's built on Vendasta Vibe, we're able to turn around new features for this platform in a matter of days. And that last part is actually what I want to dwell on for a second, because the real value of building this ourselves wasn't just the cost of saving, though saving close to $100,000 a year is real. It's what we learned. Every gap we discovered, every workflow that didn't quite fit, everything our agents needed that wasn't there yet, we could just build it. We didn't have to submit a feature request for Zendesk and hope it made it to their roadmap in 18 months. We looked at how our support team actually works, and we shaped the tool around that, not the other way around. That's a fundamentally different relationship with your software. It's liquid, and once you've experienced it, it's hard to go back. So the question I'd ask you is, what's your Zendesk? What SaaS tool are you paying for that sits outside your data, outside your platform, and outside your AI? And that you're slowly molding your business around instead of the other way around. Because that's exactly the kind of problem Vendasta Vibe is built to solve. And the last thing I want to share is what becomes possible when you have this kind of platform context underneath your AI. Because so far we've talked about Vibe as an app builder, replace a SaaS tool, build a website, automate a workflow. But the thing I'm personally most excited about is a layer beyond that. It's the idea of AI employees. Not tools that help you do work, systems that actually do the work, where a human's role shifts from operator to orchestrator. At Vendasta, we've built several of these already, and they're all available right now. I want to highlight a couple of exciting ones that will be available this summer. The first is the AI Social Media Manager. She automatically drafts and schedules a week of social content across Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok every week without being prompted. She knows the business's brand voice, their current promotions, what's worked before. The owner reviews it, approves it, and it posts. That's the full workflow. The second is the AI Blogger. She researches, writes, and publishes a long-form SEO-optimized article to the business's WordPress site every week. More content, consistently structured, without anyone on the team having to write it. The third is the AI Search Specialist. It monitors how the business appears in AI-generated search results, keeps the Google business profile accurate and complete automatically, and delivers a monthly plain language report of what to fix, ranked by what's actually costing them customers. Now, there are other tools that do parts of those things. Social scheduling apps, SEO dashboards, profile management platforms. But what makes these different is that they work from the same platform context we've been talking about. They know the specific business. It's real customers. It's real brand. It's real business data, because all of that already lives on the platform. That's why the content they generate sounds like the business instead of sounding like generic AI output. If you tried to get to this output using Lovable or Replit, you'd spend weeks just building the connections first. Here, those connections are already there. If there's one thing to take from this, the AI isn't the differentiator. Lovable's is good. Replit's is exceptional. Everyone has access to powerful Vibe platforms. The differentiator is what the AI knows when you start building. If you work with local businesses or run a marketing agency, I genuinely encourage you to try Vendasta Vibe. Not because it's ours, but because starting from your actual business data instead of from zero is something you'll feel the moment you open it. If you found this useful, I'll be going deeper on more of this, so subscribe if you want to see it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's time for me to welcome up to the stage one of my favorite people at Vendasta. At least that's what my notes said. He's top 20. Easy top 50. Easy top 50. There's a lot of great people here. But this panel is called Weeks to Minutes, and it's all about what's possible with Vendasta Vibe. It's real businesses, it's real builds, real numbers. Take it away, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff Leibel. I am the head of growth and expansion here at Vendasta for our agency division. And I'm super excited today to be joined by three of my favorite partners in the world here. We're going to get into what they've done and what they've been building in the last couple of weeks. They're part of a beta program that we have, a very exclusive program which is our AI Fast Track program inside of Vendasta. And that allows them to get access to some early tools, along with some feedback and some growing pains as well, as they build with us. But I'm up here today with, as I said, 3 of my favorite partners. We're going to talk, first of all, to Brett with Blackfeather. Brett, why don't you give us a quick introduction of you and your agency and what you do?
So I'm Brett Prescorn. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Blackfeather Digital. We call ourselves a full-service revenue enablement agency, which is a fancy way to say we're a marketing agency that also helps with sales and sales coaching. And we work based out of Allentown, Pennsylvania, with a number of businesses across a lot of different verticals.
Awesome. Everybody online, give it up for Pennsylvania. If you're from Penn, give it a thumbs up in the channel there. Great. Thanks, Brett. Let's just dig right into it. What's the most recent thing that you've built with Vibe?
Yeah, so I'll talk through a real story. Being the beta tester for the program was, I'm a lot of times out in the field working with customers, and I had a real situation where I was out at a video shoot for a commercial we were building with a real customer who's a home service guy. He does decks and awnings and shades. And while we were there, he was complaining just passively about his struggles with building out really nice looking proposals. He was spending a couple hours every night, and because I had early access to the Vibe and I really wasn't sure what to do with it, I actually pulled out my phone and built a proposal builder in the meeting. I just prompted it like they showed earlier, right there while we were together, and before I left the meeting I turned around and kind of showed him. And so if you guys want to play the video, I can kind of walk you through, and I'll talk through what we did because I think it's a pretty cool program. So basically we wanted a proposal builder that gives access to all of the proposal visibility. And one of the cool features kind of as we iterate was I was like, what are the things these guys struggle with? And so with those connectors, we could do things like pull data from the CRM. So I have, Jeff, you're in there right now as our example. And we pulled the notes up so the guy on site can see real time what was already done. And then I was like, all right, well, they need to be able to dictate these notes because they're on a roof, right? So I was like, throw that feature in there. And that iterative process was probably one of the coolest parts of doing this is like, I'm doing it, I get a preview back. And so as I'm getting that preview back in real time, I'm like, all right, add another feature, right? And by the end of this process, and you can see here, you add products, it pulls up the specs for those products. So a home service guy can do this in real time in the field. And then we threw in the AI layer. So you see here, that AI is going to review that proposal. It's going to make sure all the notes look right, spelling errors are corrected. It'll pull recommendations from what we know about the business, and then boom, finalize a preview of proposal, and you can sign it on the spot. We built in, the ability to sign in the app itself, which again, all of this is as we're building it, and this is me leaning on my car, outside of a video recording, which I thought was pretty cool. So that's the first piece I wanted to show. And then the other thing is like we talk about distribution. So I was like, well, how do I do this for every brand we work with? And so quickly threw in that there to let that happen. The second thing I'm showing here is this more recent is my vision for what Vendasta could look like for my customers in the future. With data connection and access, I wanted to create something where a person could come into the business, see everything they have to do, everything going on. It's the CRM built with AI right in front. And the goal here, again, is to build something really beautiful and easy to use for these home service guys, because I think that if the software is too complicated, they're not going to use it. So that's what you're seeing here is kind of my vision for the future for what we can do with this. And again, built on the spot. This took me maybe an hour total to build, which was pretty cool.
That's amazing. Big thumbs up in channel. Clap live if you're in Saskatoon at our HQ. So cool that you built both of those. Do you have a background in coding?
No. So I say I was made for Vibe because I'm kind of ADHD and my background is English education. So I'm really good at talking and writing. And Vibe and AI in general makes it really easy. Like I said, to be a good talker, I don't have to be a good coder. I will say it helps to understand what you're building, right? And to understand the software process, because the first thing it builds will never be as good as the fifth thing it builds. But you can go from 1 to 5 in an hour, right? You can do that in real time as you're sitting there, which is, it's awesome. It's very cool.
And just out of curiosity, I know I'm going a little bit off script. They probably hate me backstage, but you not having a technical background, how easy was it just to open it up and use it? Was there a steep learning curve?
Yeah, no, so the fact that it has a plan feature, I think really helped with that, because you'll put in your thoughts. And I always say it's like, dump all of your thoughts to AI. Let it do the organization of what you're looking for. And after you give it that, it'll give you a plan back. And that's your opportunity to go, oh, I didn't even think about that, or I missed that, and now I'll correct that before I click approve. So you know what it's going to do, and it knows what you want. So if you're a software user, you can be a software builder, right? If you've been into a software that you really liked before, or like we talked about earlier with, other people's websites, like steal things that are good, find things you like from other places and just implement them yourself, and it's very easy.
Amazing. And how's your week changed, your week to week, now that you've been introduced to Vibe and have access to those tools?
Yeah, so the biggest change is the ability to solve problems that I would have had to ignore before. I mean, right off the bat with that proposal builder, like, candidly, it would have been a thing that it would have sucked for the owner, but I don't have time and then the resources to hire a software engineer. I can't remember who it was, but I heard a quote recently where it was like, you have to figure out the cost of the software engineering to make it worthwhile. And a lot of times with software engineering teams, you're looking at 3 to 5 years to recoup the cost on an investment. And so is the 15 minutes for a proposal builder worth it? And it wasn't in the past, and now it's totally worth it, because it's something, it's doing it in the background. You saw with the demo earlier, you let it run and you go do other things and then come back to a finished project. And that's been probably the biggest takeaway for me, is like, let AI do its work for you.
Amazing. What's next?
Yeah, so I think from here, it's all about finding those kind of universal solutions. I think that a lot of our customers have similar pains. We saw it with the proposal builder. It was like, you solve it for one guy and then everybody wants to know about it, right? And so we're looking at now adding, additional applications onto websites, things like, install trackers, being able to show every install that a person's done. And again, in the past, you would have had to manually import a lot of data over. And now, because it's all built into the system, it's like, just pull the records from the CRM, find the ones marked customers, plot them on a map. And I, as a user, don't have to do a lot. So like, now it's like, what's the problem to solve, and what's the problem that is best solved with that existing data that is in the platform. Yeah, context is king.
I love it. Yeah, well said. Thank you so much, Brett.
Sure.
We're going to move over to Mike with Incept. Why don't we get a quick little bio of you, what you do and how you do it?
Jeff, thanks. I'm Mike Tavern from Incept. We are a digital agency born in Buffalo, working everywhere. And basically, our job is primarily to help our clients, both in healthcare and mostly professional services, some nonprofits and some other categories, but those are our 3 main areas of focus. Just win in an ever-competing landscape.
Yeah, and it is getting hot out there for competition. So you've been a Vendasta partner for just over 11 years now, I think.
Yes.
Yep. And what's now changed inside of your own agency now that you have access to Vibe?
We hold an AI meeting every Friday morning where we're building and going through updates and tools and everything. So when Vibe was introduced, everyone had an assignment, and they're used to it for me now, that they had to code, or not code, but build something without code within Vibe. And all the rules really were, it either has to be something that's useful internally or something that actually can be client facing. And so when we went through that, we got some pretty cool ideas.
That's awesome. I know we're going to look at least one of them here today. But what is, something that you recently built, and going back to that buyer build conversation?
There's a couple. So one was for internal use, we wanted to see what we could do to replace a really expensive reporting platform. We were using TabClicks. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
yes.
I have another word for it that I won't use here with the live audience or the virtual audience. It rhymes with clicks, but it doesn't sound quite like clicks. But we were spending an awful lot of money for not the greatest level of service. We only heard from people, surprisingly, when it was time for renewal. That's when our account exec would contact us. So what could we do? So we built something, and I'm going to pause in the video for just a second, and I'll get a little more deeply into it, that really works to replace that within Vibe with the connectors. And then we also, from a client-facing standpoint, have a regional credit union we use, and we built a home buyer coach that really was designed to capture leads really in any stage so that they could nurture and grow products within that. So if you want to roll the video, I can go through that really quickly.
We wanted to see if we could use Vibe to create an app that would replace a pretty expensive reporting platform we were using. So this is an example report, but really anywhere we can make a connector, we can pull that data in. It's very comprehensive. and it provides a really good summary for the client. We added a marketing advisor companion AI on the side here as well, providing the client with a summary of results, and they can interact with the AI as well. Internally, we've got a portion that really acts as a coach for some suggestions for conversation and even suggesting some upsell opportunities. We then use Vibe to create a first-time homebuyer coach app for a credit union client of ours. So that first-time homebuyer can come in, provide the information that the banks need to get the ball rolling, give that prospective home buyer an idea of what they might be able to afford, where they sit on the readiness journey. But really, when it comes down to it, it's for lead generation. So this form gets filled out, goes right into the CRM, and our client can follow up and sell more mortgages.
Amazing.
So Jeff connected to that. Thank you.
Yeah, just applause going wild here in office, hopefully online.
Connected to that really was, it's our ability to connect both within the data. So like we're talking about having that, we're already cheating because we already have all the information we need. And then the third party tools, because we have some clients with multiple budgets, lots of different sources. So the more we can connect, the more that tool grows. And the lovely part is that we built it once. We can add on to it, we can grow it, we can improve it, but we copy and paste account to account where it's needed, and it's so convenient. And with that the home buyer coach, the great part is for a credit union or a bank, you're capturing them, like I mentioned, in any stage. So if someone's not ready because their credit score sucks, or they just don't have the money for a down payment, well, credit unions have lots of products. Build an account here, open a credit card, because we report to the credit reporting bureaus more often than a bank does. So we're gonna build your credit score higher to get you ready for that mortgage. And then you're of course gonna buy the mortgage from us when that time comes. So it really is an end-to-end experience on one product line where they can bring someone in at any stage. So it's really cool.
That's absolutely amazing. Internally, your team, you said now you've got a happy AI happy hour, I call it, Friday afternoons. You take some time with your team. I think it's really important that they start experiencing that. Any really cool builds from your team? I know how our team experienced AI internally is we all solved a small problem that we had in our life just to get comfortable with the tools. It might have been a volleyball tracking app. I think there was someone else built something for their kids to track their chores and make sure that they're getting their allowance properly. Just to explain how that sort of blossomed within your own agency of giving these tools to your team and just tell them to dream a little dream, I guess.
So beyond that reporting tool that is going to grow as we get more and more, and that's going to be super comprehensive, and it's cool that we get to go that, because that's probably the biggest win, I think. But when we start seeing what we can do that's client facing, like that home buyer app, but even just some business ideas came from it too. So we're vetting a strategy app for small businesses that was born in our first Vibe coding session. So more to come on that, but out of the 12 to 15 things we built, that actually might be a spinoff.
Amazing. And you were using, and full disclosure, you were using other tools to build prior to Vendasta Vibe. You and I had a conversation about it last week. I just tell them about that story just quickly here, of how you were sitting there and you're like, I'm taking it to this tool and using this to build this prompt and feeding it back into the Vendasta side. And then you said, I'm going to stop and
replicate and see what happens, basically. So we talk about not having the data to start and some of the connectors, and actually even just not having something that's as scalable, because we build in Claude, and if you're using the cheapest plan, people are hitting limits really quickly, for instance. So this thing works and it's cool, but now I have to wait till 7:14 tonight to keep on working on it. This is not the world we're going to experience in Vibe, so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and your clients, this is another question that you and I talked about too, skepticism of AI. How do you get around that with some of your end user clients?
For sure. So especially in some more conservative environments that we work in, we will introduce the concept of, okay, we're going to start with the agent. We might go to the chat agent. We're going to go to voice, but everyone has a hole to poke, so let's actually just make it sticky. So we're introducing break the bot sessions with our clients, so that before we launch, we're actually having all the skeptics run in and just try to smash through the thing to see what we can do, what they can do to break it, because it's not going to be perfect, and we're going to learn a lot, but also we get buy-in from the skeptics within the client, sticky relationship. So now it's not just we sold you this thing that costs this many dollars and cents per month. It's sticky, and it's no different than if we're maintaining your website. This is something that lives, and we have to keep an eye on it and keep on working through it and improving it. And stickiness is great, but also it turns into more revenue.
Yeah,
And
the
that's
monetization
perfect-
strategy, exactly.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Big round of applause. Appreciate it, Mike. And then we've got Nick Prentice here from Blue River. So, Nick, hello.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. I'm Nick Prentice with Blue River Digital. We're based out of northern Indiana. We service clients all over the United States, mainly in the auction and real estate vertical. We're a full-service agency. When I say full service, all under one roof. We start with graphic design, anything with a logo on it. So printing, signage, apparel, and then, of course, digital marketing, which we're talking about mostly today.
Awesome. Let's just talk quickly about, before we play the video, about the latest thing that you've built that you're very proud of.
Oh man, yeah. So this was one of the first builds we attempted with this. We've built dozens already. It's a really exciting time for us. And actually, the best part of it was the process of learning from our team of what they really want. But we've been using Monday.com. Over the years, we've transferred from just Excel spreadsheets to Smartsheets to Monday.com. And each level, as you're growing your business, each new investment is a scary step, right? But as we want to grow, we're growing into. We just hired a couple more people last week. We're hitting the seat tax that everyone feels on some of these subscription-based platforms like Monday.com, and it was just limited, right? It's a cookie cutter, and we're not able to do everything we want to do. So we sat down and we talked with our team. What would you like to see in our own project management system? So we built Current on Vendasta Vibe. Basically, what it is, we took all their ideas, put it into one thing, and it actually works for us instead of us trying to kind of fit this mold that Monday.com had. And it saves us about $15,000 to $20,000 a year by doing this. So we're in kind of some testing modes right now with our web and digital departments, and we'll bring in all the rest here hopefully in the next couple of weeks. But really the kind of the coolest thing was just some of the ideas that people were sharing, getting a lot of buy-in from our team that way too. So one big thing is our management always needs to track and see, we've got 9 different departments. How can we tell if a graphic designer has time and ability to be able to commit to a different department? And we built forecasting into this to where we're able to track and see how much time each person actually has, and it's based on their current abilities, how quick they're able to design. We've got a whole spectrum of designers from right out of college, and some with decades of experience. So it allows us to kind of really quickly at the snapshot see that, and I'll show that here in this video.
If you want to roll a clip.
We finally hit the point where Monday.com just wasn't working the way our company works anymore. Between seat costs, the seat tax, disconnected systems and workflows, we kept trying to force our business into someone else's platform. We decided to just build one on our own. So using Vendasta Vibe, we vibed a completely custom operational system for our team at Blue River Digital. Projects, assignments, ticketing, forecasting, reporting, proposal building, pricing tools, customer management, all connected in one place. Now every department works from the same system with workflows actually built around how we operate. And honestly, the best part is the clear understanding of our team's workflow at any given time for planning, forecasting, and scaling. We call it Current. Built around the idea that work should keep moving. Clear workflows, connected teams, real visibility into what's happening across the company. No stagnant projects, no disconnected systems, just momentum. Introducing Current, built by Blue River Digital, powered by Vendasta Vibe.
Love it. Yeah, crowd goes wild here again too. Love the production quality as well. It was good. Speaking of AI built, AI run businesses, I've heard that you have a use case using Vibe plus our Vendasta AI employees together.
We have a lot, actually. But
Okay,
I'll
all
share with
right.
one. Once you start playing with this and your team finds out about it, then they're like, hey, I've got an idea. Can we do this? And the answer is now always yes, which is great. And we're now selling that same philosophy to our clients. our web design intake has always been kind of slow and convoluted. So we vibed up a form that actually has some kind of fun features in it. One, I'll just share one of the cool features of this form. I don't know about you guys, but we always run into our clients never know what their brand colors are. So we built this little tool in there where you can drop your logo in, and it tells you what the brand colors are. It extracts the hex codes out of the color, so it's out of the logo. But we utilize the AI sales assistant to fill out this form. So within the CRM, within the client, we're able to just go in there and say, hey, fill out a marketing, a website intake form. It fills it out and emails it to the appropriate people. And we have the form already completed and has all the data from all of our meeting transcripts already there. So the thing that slows us down is having too many meetings about the same thing. We found that on average, we're having 3 different meetings with our clients about websites before we even build the website for them. There's a sales process and then there's an intake process, right? So we normally we go over those questions already. So why not keep track of those and automate that process? So we use the agents to do that.
Amazing. Brett had something.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Nick said there because I think it's a really good point. The other cool, because we're doing the same thing, I thought it was one of the first things we did too is rolled out like an onboarding process that is a little more engaging for customers. And the thing we did that I think is really cool with AI built in is that instead of sending them a blank form where we say, tell us about your business, I can have the AI pre-populate with what research we can find or AI can find on the internet. And so we say, hey, here's what we know about you already, which makes us look really impressive when we're going out to a customer that we've done all this research on their brand. And so it's like, here's us filling out what we know about you. You just tell us where we're wrong or what you need to change. I've done that now a few times, and the customers every time are like, wow, you knew more about us than we did. Like, we didn't know those were our brand colors or values, things like that.
That's true. You know, I've done the same thing too, helping out local friends here with their marketing strategies. And I've used a lot of our AI recording software to actually just sit down and have an interview with an SMB. And just sit down, natural language. It's not something they have to sit down and take 2 hours and fill this out and track things down, but just have a simple interview back and forth with them, talking about their business and the outcomes they want to drive, and it pulls it all in, and it gives you that really good snapshot of what makes them tick, because SMBs are busy. Half of them don't want to take the time to sit down with you for an hour or half hour or track down these things. But just having a simple interview process and being able to record that using our AI software, housing it in CRM, so powerful.
Yeah, it turned our 1 hour long onboarding meeting into about 15 minutes because we already have the info. So basically when we're coming back to them, we're the experts. So okay, here's what we know so far from all of our conversations we've had. Does anything sound off to you? This is what actually was happening before. There was tons of scope creep. Yep. Right, because a salesperson sold this is what we priced it for. The onboarding team comes in and they are interviewing the client and here's what we want to have on our website. Okay, we can build that, we'll build that. Then all of a sudden we're building something that we didn't sell, right? So now we're coming to them in 15 minutes. This is what we've put together. This is what we know already. Is anything seem off to you? Do you need something different? And they say, yeah, we really want these features. It wasn't included. Here's what that would cost. We could totally do that for you. It saves us basically 45 minutes, and not only our time but our clients' time, which is super precious.
Awesome. Mike, quick question for you. So you've published some Vendasta Vibe coded apps right now. How hard is it to make changes on the fly to suit a different client or add some functionality?
Funny you ask, Jeff. It's very easy because, again, I talked about the copy and paste ability, but adding some more prompts in. So unlike what a lot of people might use in another AI tool where you get deeper and deeper into prompting and it gets worse and worse and worse, this gets better and better and better. So it's really the exact opposite experience. And just to touch on what everyone's been talking about, for anyone who's even thinking about using this or skeptical, $50 a month for you just to turn it on for yourselves with all the things you can build. Because we're just talking about the few things. We have 15, 16, 20 things. I don't even know how many. So my project manager is using her own app that she built for herself for her own process, and then putting actually a process improvement plan, which is what she wants to always do with all of us. And I am anti-process, so I'm really hard to get, but it's when it's easy for me, I can just walk right into it. So you're going to see that success within your own operations, and then you get to tell the story about what you've learned and what you've done, and then sell that story. and we test everything on ourselves. So I just haven't joined the hair club for men yet, but but we do test absolutely everything on ourselves, and then it's clients. It really resonates with clients when you show them behind the curtain as well.
I love it. It's such a powerful tool. Hey, what question am I not asking you guys that you want to tell the people in this room or people online about the Vendasta Vibe?
Yeah, I think Mike made a great point, which is the two things. One is try it and let everyone on your team try it, because it's very low risk and you'll learn so many things that people on your team, your customers think about just because they now feel like they have access to something they didn't have before. And then the second part, which kind of leans into that, is you can ask everyone for their opinions now. I know for us, and I'm sure it was the same for you guys, where you're developing a website, you want some people's opinions, but you don't want everyone's opinion. It becomes a challenge, and you're making changes on very small things, and it takes a lot of work before. Now I can ask everyone their opinion, bottle all that opinion up into one single prompt, and all of those things get fixed at once by the AI program. So for the first time ever, everyone can be a stakeholder, and it's not going to slow the process down. And I think that's the other side of this, is it's not just about doing things faster and better, but it's about getting more people involved and bought in. And nothing gets people more bought in when they feel like they helped build it.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Mike.
I think it's like how we talk about everything with AI with all of our clients, is that this particular product is a little bit about, well, do you want to be at the front, or do you want to be in the perpetual loop of catching up? So get at the front, own it, and that's where any of us who are adopting, we have clients who are adopting, that's where we're trying to keep it. We're still focused on win, and that's our gut check always for ourselves and our clients. Get on it so you're not catching up, because catching up is getting harder and harder to do.
Absolutely. Nick.
Yeah, and where to start? I would say, so on the money side of things, right? So I'm head of growth and innovation, not only for our clients, but for ourselves as well. So one question that I'm always having to answer is, how is this going to make us money? And when I saw Vibe demoed in January for the first time, just like dollar signs started flashing, because it's not a website builder, all right? That's the very simplest form of it, and we could totally crank out some really great websites, and ability to use those in marketing campaigns is even better. But I remember back in November, we had a meeting with a client that was looking for it was an equipment dealership that they were looking for an application that would allow them to connect with the manufacturer's part system and VIN system and things like that, and to be able to just take a picture of a QR code and then like have the client follow it and the service techs follow it and everything like this. At that time, we're like, okay, this is out of our scope. We can't really do it. They hired somebody for well into the 6 digits to build this puppy out. And we missed that opportunity. They're still not done yet. We went to them and said, hey, we can do this now. In fact, we built that in about 3 hours. It's not connected to the John Deere manufacturing API, but we're able to do that, and we built a really slick system that we're going to sell to other people now instead. But this is start thinking bigger. Start thinking bigger than websites. We're answering problems for our clients. So when we're in those meetings and they're saying, "Wait, man, we're just struggling with this," great, we can fix it. Give us some time. I got my meeting note taker up. We're listening. Like, tell me your story, and we'll get back to you on how we can fix it. And the few clients that we have already have sold this and are making money on it right now is loving it. And they're sending me emails every couple of days, like, "Hey, can we make it do this?" We can. Just tell us what you're looking for. We'll build it out. So we've actually created our 9th department is AI and development. So we've hired myself, and then we've got two new people that are working in that department specifically to utilize Vibe.
Awesome. We're almost at time here. I got 1 minute left. One word to describe our AI Vibe.
Opportunity.
Growth.
Access.
Love it. Thanks, gentlemen. That's great sound clip. That's 3 of our Vendasta AI fast track partners telling their stories. We've got a ton more in the room, and stay tuned. We've got a little bit more.
Thank you so much to Nick, Brett, Michael, Jeff. Thank you for doing that. You are top 20, easy. Thanks for doing that. You did a great job. So now we've got time to do a Q&A. And welcome back up onto the stage Rylan Morris and Brennan King. And now we've got Jesse Rettel, our chief architect, who's done a ton of the work bringing Vibe to life. And so to kick things off, we've got some questions from online. I'd like to read them out. I think I've got a softball for one of you, just to ease into the questions here. First question is, will we be able to add Google AdWords code to the site and landing pages?
Yes.
Sure, you don't want to
The fun part about Vendasta Vibe for a lot of these questions, or any AI tool builder, is we need to think about how to use the tool now. So if you have your AdWords code, all you have to do now is type into Vibe, please add this AdWords code to my project page. And that's all you have to do. And then if you're in Business App, the next step is it'd be great to connect it to your customer's Google Analytics account, and all of a sudden you've got a wheel that can go like this, because you're adding the account and you're collecting the analytics from the set account. So again, this is the mental model shift we all have to make, though, is just ask AI to do what the question is, and it's more than likely going to get it right in your first try.
I'll just maybe add something to that too. You might have noticed too in our the demo that I was doing, one of the videos we played, I installed the AI receptionist, and as part of the beta right now, you do have to actually copy the AI receptionist code and just drop it into the chat, and it'll install it for you. So it's another great example of just how, if you want to try it out, like just grab that code, drop it in. We're going to make that even easier though in the future. You won't even have to copy that code over.
Okay, here's a good question. Where does a new Vibe-coded website reside? Is there a hosting fee associated with that?
Hosting fees are currently just part of your monthly subscription. So again, if you move up to Vibe Standard, you're going to get on a custom domain, and you can host up to 5 websites a month just included inside of that. We are hosting on Google's cloud front end, and so again, that's globally distributed, globally cached. We're still tuning some of that cache management as part of we're publishing. So again, as your app is generated, especially now if you're using Supabase backend functions, there's going to be 2 locations. Vendasta Cloud will be launching later this year, which will also give you a co-location ability to determine what region of the world you want to serve your backend functions. So Lubos, that might be interesting to you, wherever you are in the room. Lubos, there you are. And so again, you could actually choose a European hosting region when Vendasta Cloud launches. That's where the backend functions would host, and then the front end would be distributed in Google's front end caching system. Again, so that's again on Vendasta Pro. Light us up and we'll figure out, again, currently we don't have any plans for additional hosting costs, but again, some might be coming in the future, but as of right now, it's just as many apps you can publish, and it's going to be included in your monthly fee for the time being.
Right on. Here's another question. If we activate Vibe for a single purpose, i.e., say building a website, can we cancel it after the website or project is done?
It can be. The project will still be on. However, the hosting is going to be currently shut down. So we need to probably, and we would love your feedback on this one. As we go forward, the project will always be accessible to you. The hosting currently, however, you have a published app, it gets turned off as part of canceling the product, and the hosting would shut down. But again, we would love your feedback and work with us on working out those kinks of the system.
I'll just add what that means is if your customer is no longer paying you, you can turn it off so they can't see it, but you still got it there if you want to turn it back on. Yep. Opportunity, growth, and access. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that was great, hey?
It has to be somewhere, you know.
Homepage.
Did you guys have the questions ahead of time? Yeah. Okay, good question here. How are credits calculated?
Ooh, hot seat. So Vendasta, again, since our inception, we've had very close relationships with the Google Cloud Platform. We're part of Google Cloud's early access features and a bunch of things, and AI credits is no different. So we are partnering with, it's fun terms if you want to go look it up. It's called GSUs. Google, of course, made it complicated. That is basically AI compute spending unit something, and I get it wrong every time I talk about it. So what we are doing on your behalf is we are committing to GSUs that run behind the scenes, meaning we are going to be starting manage our token consumption rate on token throughput per second. So again, we don't want any of you to have to worry about that, but let's step back for a second and look at how Claude Code, many of you are familiar with like Gemini or Codex. These AI companies charge us in technically 3 ways. Input tokens, that's the prompt in the business data we know about your system. There is output tokens, what AI gave back to us, and we have cached tokens. And so as part of this, we don't need to worry about cache tokens. We're going to do that on your behalf. And so what we're doing now is we are doing a live conversion as your Vibe project is streaming by, so tokens per second. Google charges Vendasta based upon input tokens, cache tokens, and prompt tokens, and we're translating that into AI credits. And so we'll have more documentation coming about just what that translation rate is, but think of it as cost recovery of the raw token provider in those 3 buckets, and we'll be doing live tuning. And so again, our goal is so Vendasta doesn't get caught on the limb of what the token cost is, but we're going to be partnering with you in streamlining what is that token throughputs per second against those three versions of cost related to token management.
Yeah, and I think that question's probably asked to say, hey, how do we charge for it, and how do we also? So we're going to make sure that everyone can charge for it. So we're, you know, Jesse's talking about Google as the system, but we're model agnostic, so there's any model could be in there. We're basically going to normalize those credits for you, and we're going to make sure that when you're billing, that you won't be on the hook too. So right now, if you're trying to resell from Lovable or Base 44, it's really hard for you to figure out how much to charge and what you're paying and figure out how to make that work. We're going to make that all easy for you.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get this question right. So will Vibe be able to pull our own agency products, services from Partner Center or Vendor Center to create our own proposed build, or is it completely limited to the data in business apps?
Ooh, that's a good question. So right now, we've launched with 4 connectors. We have an SSO connector, so any user of the business app can flow into your apps. We've got the Forms connector. Rylan demoed that one today. We've got the Supabase connector, and we have an Analytics connector. And so again, we're going to work on renaming the Analytics connector, something that makes sense. But think of it this way. Any of the cards that are available in Business App, you can just start asking Vibe to add to your own bespoke dashboards. In the beta 2 release, if I can call it a beta 2 release, we are going to open up more connectors, again, both for the Vendasta platform, but also for AI connectors in terms of being able to make website crawling, Stripe, Shopify connectors. Are going to be whole streaming these coming in the next couple of months. But to really hone in on that question, we are also going to be giving the ability to connect custom MCPs and your own AI. So if you do have data elsewhere, not just in regards to Partner Center, but your own business data systems, maybe John Deere, you can also start doing that integration behind the scenes to those things, and then actually building truly interoperability from an application perspective. And so our goal is to empower you to connect to anything you want. And again, we are going to be building a bunch of these connectors just live in the Business App Integrations page, so you don't have to worry about the API key management, token management, or secret management. That's going to be taken care of by the Vibe backend.
I would just add again from a simpler perspective, I know you all want to build things to help yourselves and to help your customers. And so today you have access to the business app data, which is recognized in the question, which is everything of the foundational products you buy, like reviews and listings and social data, and you'll get more of that. But you're asking about your orders, and you're asking about your own management. You're asking about the things that are in Partner Center. Yes, that is going to come, and that's the plan. What sometimes we need is the business use case so we can understand how to prioritize these things. So I know I'm inviting a flood of emails, but if you have good business use cases, we're always listening.
Yeah, I was going to say you can email bking@vendasta.com, but also we do have a feedback board on feedback.vendasta.com. So if you have any suggestions of other connectors that you'd like to see built out for Vibe, I saw a really great one in the chat here after we showed Kendall's video with the AI blogger. It's like, wouldn't it be great if we could just have the blogger post automatically to a Vibe-coded website? And I think that's in the works already. So, but if you have any other suggestions, feedback.vendasta.com, and there is a board for Vendasta Vibe. It's hard to miss.
Way to go, Rylan. You just made Brendan cut a bead there. Okay. Okay, here's a question I like. Is it possible? No, I really like.
You didn't like it and didn't like any of the other ones.
Well, I mean, I want to see answers here that I don't necessarily know. So is it possible to input lovable projects into Vendasta Vibe?
In beta 2, we're looking at how do we import basically any website. And so again, if you have an existing import website, Lovable, Base 44, how can you ingest it? We are currently allowing you to download the code as well to take it to your own. There'll be different connectors in the future, but again, in phase 2 of the launch of the beta, we're also going to be looking at how do we help you move your own systems, where basically you could either point us at GitHub where your code might be, or if you have your own project file, and we'll go through the import process in terms of trying to remix it. It's not much different than what we're currently doing from our cloning solution. So it's a long-winded way of saying yes, and we would also welcome your feedback for what are the other providers out there that you'd be interested in access for. I think on a tangential note, I know there was also a comment about WordPress. So we're also looking at how do we help you vibe code WordPress templates in the future as well. So if you want to keep your hosting back in on WordPress, we're also looking at how do we put the vibe editor on top of WordPress itself, and then you can vibe code your own WordPress websites. But also, you could also ingest from WordPress using the cloning solution, where that will transform the content you have in WordPress into the Vibe hosting platform itself.
I want to ask a question because all the questions coming in, but I like to get something out of how much the world has changed. So I would like everybody who has a login to GitHub to put up their hand. So I want to see, this is amazing. This wouldn't have been this way a very short period of time ago. Congratulations.
So in the room here, there's, what, 24 hands went up?
Yeah, more than that, like almost a third.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, here's a question that's really important. Now that Vibe can reduce the amount of hours and labor, how do we price this for retail?
Yeah, so this current Vibe is the one that you sell to the business, and you can log in and do things on their behalf. But Vibe distribution is coming, and Vibe distribution is going to allow you to create things and then resell those things. And it's going to be, your businesses won't have to change the code. You're going to change the code on their behalf and manage it. So there's going to be a huge amount of upside for partners to be able to build apps and resell those apps with a very low cost. So that pricing model we'll watch for this. In the meantime, you're welcome to continue what you're doing, which is sell Vibe to a customer and go do it for them. That's a fine way too. You don't have to worry about you can resell them the credits and everything else. You don't have to worry about anything. But we'll come up with the Vibe pricing model. We're trying to rush to get it to you here, but we didn't get it done in time. So we'll have that, but I think you're going to like it.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that comment, we've had a lot of experience over the years with like distributing apps and selling apps. A lot of you probably know Vendasta's marketplace and just the whole business model behind that. So yeah, we're really bullish that we'll be able to release something fairly soon for that.
We're happy to take a question or two from the crowd, and everyone online will be able to hear. I'll take the mic over to you as people percolate potential questions out in the crowd. Is there any question that you guys can think of that, you wish that somebody asked that or you really wanted to answer?
No, I was just, I'm blown away by our fast track partners, and I look forward to seeing everything. I'm sure there's 100 ideas here. I'd like to take questions from the audience, though, if there's any here.
Anybody have a question? I'll run the mic out to you. Okay, good.
Could you tell us what's going to be changing with executive report? And it seems like a lot of people are vibe coding new executive reports.
Yeah. I'm going to hand this over to Jesse, but before I do, this to me is our responsibility becomes the infrastructure, the context, and the data, which I've been talking about a lot. And we'll have a UI, but you don't have to settle for that anymore. You can build your own UI. We're going to be adding more data. We're going to be adding more tools. And we're going to be adding more infrastructure to let you provide that at scale to whoever you need to. So the world will be open. That doesn't mean we won't add things to our own SaaS product to be able to let people use it the way that it is, but it means you don't have to settle for it. And with what's coming, I'm going to pass that across to Jesse.
Maybe just to speak directly to the executive report, we continue to support, invest, and as we add larger data models behind the scenes, you'll continue to see the executive report expand, because that's also the baseline system that we want to offer. In terms of, if you don't want to do vibe coding, you have that baseline report that's going to continually get better and better and better over time as well. One of our goals right now is to, how do we make sure the analytics in the executive report are the same as the analytics card and maybe a product like reputation management, which is the same as the analytics card in the multi-location dashboard. And so it's also part of the analytics push behind the scenes. It's the same engine that powers your Vibe products, executive report, multi-location analytics. And so that's going to continue and to be enhanced alongside this Vibe push as well.
Other questions? Don't be shy.
Yeah, just going back to that WordPress question from earlier, I'm curious your thoughts as kind of the leaders in the space. Do you think that it makes more sense to make custom themes in WordPress using Vibe in the future? Or does it make more sense to Vibe code your own CMS and get rid of WordPress altogether in favor of doing something your own? And I'm just curious, because I know a lot of people ask about WordPress still.
You know, that's a really challenging question to answer, and I expect more hosting companies like WordPress. Again, if you look at the company behind WordPress, Automatic, they're probably also going to start distributing their own Vibe-coded applications, right? This is going to be the way of the future. In regards to Vibe directly, though, one of the questions I would have back to this room is, WordPress is hard to customize, configure, host, manage. It's also somewhat slow. If you look at the size, number of pages of WordPresses, again, we host tens of thousands of WordPress websites on a monthly basis. But if you look at the vast majority of the websites you all are building on top of our hosting platform, most of them are 5 and 10 page websites. One blog post from 2024. So the question I would ask to you all is, why go through the pain of building that WordPress site when you could Vibe code the same 5-page website and have Google's front-end load balancer in front of it for the perpetuity of that application? I think WordPress will still have its place in the future. It's probably for really complicated CMS applications. However, I would maybe close my little statement here with also saying we're also going to launch a CMS right beside Vibe. So that also will be just part of potentially where WordPress is no longer required by yourself, and simplifies your team's delivery of the application itself.
I actually have a couple of questions, and hats off to you guys. Are doing a great job. Thank you so much. In the multi-location, I have a lot of MSOs, multi-state operators, or a lot of different locations for a lot of our businesses, and we run the brand as one single brand, right? We've got one website for multiple locations, one application for multiple locations, and that type of thing. Can we, or are you planning on making this functionality in the group setting? Or do we just need to continue? Right now, we take one flagship store, and we've got social media manager just for that to manage all the locations and that type of thing.
So there's 2 chunks to that, and I'll probably pass it to my left as well, but I'll maybe start by the CMS. So our goal is to also make the CMS have a brand level capability, or if you're using our terms, Vendasta multi-location groups, where the CMS now, you could have an image or a file or some static assets shared globally to that CMS. So every business now with inside of your the grouping of business data will have access to that image. Now, when it comes to Vibe app distribution and rollout, there's a couple ways we're still exploring for doing this. So Brendan's alluded to the distribution piece, where inside a partner center, the question that we are actually looking for feedback on is, do we help you roll out the same website with the minor tweaks for each location of the Vibe assets and then you distribute it? Or do you want to have one asset managed by the group, right? And we can see it both ways, and so it'd be fun to maybe break offline and have a mini huddle about that, because I would love to go deeper into that discussion with you.
Yeah, for sure.
I would just add that we're always thinking about that. So if you have a multi-location owner and they want a chat widget, they don't want to be having 6 of them. They want one that actually distributes the leads properly amongst those groups. So we're constantly, working with you folks to find out what the best solution is. And unfortunately, lots of times it depends, and it's both. But we're doing our best to make the model. And with Vibe, we can do that. We're doing our best to make the model such that you can have it customized the way you need it.
Perfect. Yeah. And then the second one was, and I think I heard you correctly, we'll be able to place our own cards on the customer's business app, and then externally link that button to here's your web hosting or your website access or whatever it may be if we're doing that outside?
Yeah, so as part of the distribution piece, we actually want you to be able to publish into our, for lack of better words, I'm going to say our store functionality, our marketplace infrastructure. So as part of publishing, you can choose which account you want to roll it out to, and then it's a top-level icon directly inside a business app that uses our embedded SSO solution to transfer your users directly between that app, from business app into the apps you're going to be providing to your users. Maybe from a quick timing perspective, that's probably more of a general availability of Vibe. So we're targeting hopefully mid-ish Q3 of that functionality, and it'll be more time to come on when that's actually going to be out the door for us.
So quick question, just wondering if we've thought about cannibalization on the number of products that we're selling to these SMBs, right? Would Vibe, like if I'm selling 3 things to SMBs, what stops me from putting these 3 things together and sell it as one product to my customer base?
The core products we're offering, we see Vibe as an extension of that, and I'll pass the mic left when I'm done the technical side of it. But if we look at Social Marketing Pro, that's going to unlock your ability to talk and connect to the social networks. So Vibe itself doesn't have that functionality. The Social Marketing Pro is that functionality. But with the internal connectors, you would be able to build your own social app in the future, but you're still going to require to have Social Marketing Pro on, because that's actually the gateway for Vibe for doing it. So if you look at the core products we're offering, Vibe is going to sit on top of that under the connector model. And so the goal there is how do you actually distribute those same applications to your user in any way you want, but it's still going to be piggybacking on top of the raw core data, the core APIs of what we consider our foundational products of this whole suite.
Yeah, so cannibalization is happening in all parts of your business. If you're an agency, you know this, that you can build content and create things at a much better rate and quality than you could in the past. And so if you think about software, in the past and now, even now and in the past, it's been the UI that's been the value of it. And that's no longer the case. The value of software is that system of record of that data and the things that it can do in the real world, the APIs and the things it can do. And so we understand that that's going to change, and we're pushing forward for you and for us to say this is the way things are going to be. You'll be able to pay for the things that small businesses and most people can't do, which is keep and maintain and collect that data, keep it up to date, available to the AI, and build the tools. So who wants to maintain a whack of APIs or even MCPs, but it could be easier to connect those. But lastly, and most importantly, provide the AI infrastructure and the context around how it works to be able to do the things that need to be done. And that's what we want to give you all, and let you provide that value and monetize it with small businesses.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, any other questions before we start to wrap here? First off, I want to say thank you very much to the guys for coming up here and doing the Q&A and sitting on the spot. Great job, everyone. I want to thank all you guys for such thoughtful questions, and it's fantastic having partners that have been with us a long time to ask such deep questions about how the system works, knowing how it works. Everyone online that submitted a question, our team is working online right now to try to answer all the questions. If we don't get to them, we will follow up after the event. And so with that, I'll thank the crew here, and we'll move on to the next and the last portion of the program right now. And that's for everybody online. People in the room here, we're going to do something a little bit different. But for everyone online, Logan is going to be putting together a hands-on workshop. So all people online, please hang tight. We're going to be transitioning over to Logan. And with that, I want to thank you very much for your attention, and I hope it was well worth your while and we followed through on that promise to make a good use of your time. Stay tuned. There's amazing things on the horizon. It's a fantastic time to be alive. Cheers, everyone. And with that, I believe we've cut away. We're cutting away.